everyone. So today we're going to have a proposal presented about money being spent to fund a Veterans Memorial on campus. We will have Jason Schlegel, who is the Assistant Director of the BAS program and the upcoming Director of Veterans Affairs. We will also have Robert T. Wallace, who is a Marines veteran and current CBC student. So help me give a warm welcome to Jason Schlegel.
Hello everyone. As our president said, my name is Jason Schlegel. I currently serve as the Assistant Director of the BAS program, and this summer will transition into a new role as Director of Veterans Services. And part of that is a commitment on the college's part to become a veterans-friendly campus. And I just want to take time to note that currently there are a number of things going on at CBC so that we are, in fact, striving to become a veterans-friendly campus. And I think in many ways we are. And some of my colleagues, whom I'll introduce to you in a second, have been working diligently over the years to support veteran students on campus. So I've asked Wally, he's famously known on campus as Wally to come in and help present because he is a veteran. He's a current student. He's a member of our bachelor's program, and he is also a Marine. So as they say, once a Marine, always a Marine. So Wally and I are going to go back and forth and share our proposal, and then we'll allow time for questions should you have any. So let's move forward. So here's what we're trying to do, and I will let you know. Currently, we are trying to raise money for a monument, and actually this campaign, as Ryan may attest to in just a second, this campaign has been going on for at least 2 years, and at this point, we are still very far away from raising $75,000, which is something we think we will need to have a nice monument, not just a stone, not a plaque in the ground, but a nice monument. So this is the what. Okay. Just the what. Yes. I want to make sure I'm on the right slide. So this is the what. So the why. Again, trying to be a veterans-friendly campus, and there are colleges across the country who are far beyond where we are. They have dedicated large spaces to veterans, veteran resources for veteran success, but when we get down to it, we're trying to, with veterans as well as other students, other student groups, other demographics on campus, to truly support a welcoming, inviting, inclusive campus. And symbolism does matter. And that's where we're going with this Veterans Monument. My colleagues and I, and no doubt many students as well, you can attest to, are more open to veterans. I have had the chance over the past year to talk to my grandfather, who is a combat veteran, Vietnam era, War, 2 tours of duty in combat. And most of my life he was reluctant to share with me his stories, but more recently he's opened up and shared with me that coming back from war was hard, and very hard. In fact, given that war and the setting of that war, he wasn't really welcome not only in his country, but let alone on college campuses. And I think generationally, perhaps other generations have learned that lesson, but nonetheless, I think we need to strive to communicate to our veterans that they are in fact welcome. So, did you want to comment?
Well, yeah, I did actually want to comment because earlier Jason said that this is a proposal, and this isn't a proposal, this is a plea, because this is something that we actually need to show the veterans that we are supporting them. Just to tell you a real quick story of myself, when I was in the Marine Corps for 10 years, you know, and in my mindset I wanted to go ahead and do the whole 20 years, you know, all gung-ho and everything, hoorah. And what happened was I got into a vehicle accident. So unfortunately I was medically discharged and I was unfit for duty. So I am basically a disabled vet. Now, the thing is with that, after serving 10 years in the Marine Corps, I was lost. I was like, what am I to do now? You know, my whole life career plan was changed. I thought I was going to retire at age 39, you know, live the whole good 20 years in the Marine Corps, and that was it. Maybe get another little side job on the side just because, but it didn't happen that way. So I didn't know what to do. So as every, Marine would know that the best job is security. So I started to do a little side-end job security here and there and, working at other places. But, the money wasn't looking like how it should have been looking. And of course with my disabilities and things like that, it couldn't really work with the jobs that I had. So what happened was I told myself, I need to have that paper, that degree, to actually make the paper, the money. So what am I going to do? And I saw there was a local college, CBC, and I was still kind of reluctant to go in there because I was like, I still didn't really know anything about college life. I originally joined the Marine Corps to go to college, but that wasn't the case. I had to live that Marine life and saw the college. It was like, okay, it looks pretty interesting, but I'm not too sure, but being that I'm in this situation, let me go ahead and go anyway. So I started in 2009, September, started going and didn't really know too much about the Resource Center, but the Resource Center, they helped me out with my accommodations and everything like that, and they assisted me. So the thing is I've been here since 2009, and at that point I've progressed a lot and I've learned a lot and helped me out a lot. The thing is here at CBC, they're doing something like, I don't know if you ever heard of Anthony Arnold. Anthony Arnold, he was a veteran from Indiana, and he had to leave his freshman year of college to join the Navy. After that, he served 15 months in Afghanistan, and when he came back, he was lost, because he had to go back, and the accommodations weren't right for him. In Indiana, they couldn't basically support the needs that he needed because all these other students were like 19, 20, and they were worrying about what they're going to wear Friday night, where he actually went to a conflict area, and he was worried about, doing his studies and making sure he passed, but at the same time, he was still kind of not feeling that camaraderie as was felt in the military, because that's what we all are. We are a band of brothers. And this memorial, when it is put up, and when it will be put up, is something that will show that it is a band of brothers, that this college accepts veterans all over. Now the thing is, I know each and every one of you has said to a vet before, thank you. Thank you for your service, shake their hand. Now the thing is, what this memorial will say is a thank you to every veteran around campus, around the community, and everywhere.
So we submitted, or we made requests to the community and asked for folks to submit their proposals for a Veterans Monument. And as we looked around, we realized that monuments are not cheap. Art is not cheap. Which is how we roughly come up with that number, not to exceed more than $75,000, but there is a possibility that proposals coming in could be less. And that's very much possible. But we don't want to leave any branch out, so we've included all the branches. We really do want it to be gender neutral, and candidly, it doesn't mean it should be relegated to a particular time frame. I know I gave you the example of my grandfather, who's a Vietnam era combat veteran. But a lot of the folks coming to CBC right now are Afghan and Iraq War veterans, and it is conceivable that 20 years from now, there may be other wars with other veterans. We're just keeping our options open, and I'm going to tell you, I hope there are no other wars.
And at the same time, like Jason was saying, we want to definitely, I guess, moralize, the veterans of the past, present, and the future, because we want to encompass them all. We don't want to sit there and single out maybe the Korean War or just the Vietnam War or that Desert Storm, Desert Shield, Afghanistan War, or anything like that. We want to make sure that we encompass every veteran all over the community and all over the Washington State area.
And this really is, it's about service, honoring their service. Whether you agree or disagree with the political motives for the war, it's an honor of their service. So, we've asked the community for proposals, and by the 20th, hopefully we'll have more proposals. There are 2 proposals that I'm aware of that are coming forward. I don't really know what they look like at this point. We have been raising money. A couple of years ago, Ryan Washburn was back here. He spearheaded a campaign to start the fundraising for this and has been working with CBC veterans. But again, we're 2 years later and we still are not close to having enough. Okay. Texas Roadhouse has been very gracious to us recently, and in the coming days we'll be giving 10% of their proceeds on certain days to to give to this campaign. The 10% for Texas Roadhouse over 4 days is, if we're lucky, for us, maybe $1,000 if we're lucky. So, and then we've also been selling peanuts. You've gone to Texas Roadhouse, you would have peanuts. So we've been selling those as part of the fundraiser, and it's a few dollars here and there. My point is, we're working to get this money, and there have been community members who have donated, faculty and staff who have donated, but we're still far from the $75,000. We want to build a monument in this decade. So, WSU Tri-Cities, you can see the monument they built with support of their community. I will tell you, and Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, their student body didn't contribute anything.
No, they did not.
So, it's nothing against them. I want to point out, this is a bronze monument, and it has an inherent artistic quality to it, and it was close to $100,000 by the time they were done. You're looking at the size, and you're thinking, well, why is it $100,000? Well, certain metals have certain values, and those values fluctuate, and then there's the cost to build it, and the payment to the artist. It's pretty expensive. But Ryan, check me. The veteran students at WSU Tri-Cities, it means something to them.
Oh, yes, it does. When you go on the campus and you drive past that, you may not know what it is, but if you stop and look at it or walk around it and you realize what it is, it means something to a veteran when they come onto that campus, that, you know, WSU Tri-Cities is open arms to any and every veteran.
It's funny, Ryan, you said it's just like when you go through Columbia Park.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're driving, you see that monument for the veterans, you know, just right there. It's like every Memorial Day or something like that, you know. My family and I, we stop there and they have little parades there, things of that nature. So, you know, something like that, you know, we want something that'll kind of be an eye-opener and let people stop and realize that, you know, we respect the veterans there and we honor the veterans there.
So here's another campus monument that we found. You can tell it's much larger in size and scope. This particular one was designed by a faculty member, and then it was partially built by students. This is one of the institutions in the country that is truly veterans friendly. And that is more than just a monument that makes campus veterans friendly. What are the comments from their students? So to put things into perspective, you've been to the CCTE building, and it's a beautiful building. That piece of artwork itself cost $75,000. MLK, Bob Roselli and I looked at some numbers, but we found the actual cost in 1987 was $77,000, accounting for 3% inflation. That puts MLK at about $125,000 by today's standards. So, again, I'm emphasizing monuments with inherent artistic quality do cost money. Here's what Edmonds Community College did, one of the few community and technical colleges in the state that actually has built a monument of sorts for their students. The reason I included this is because I appreciated the quote from Tim, who is an alum of Everett. And this is sort of building on what Wally had talked about already. So here are some concepts. I mean, there's just so many possibilities, and we don't have anything to show you. We can't say to you, this is what it's going to look like, because we're trying to get a proposal. And that's why Bob and Nancy have joined with us to help fundraise, because the normal state process would require that we get a proposal and then we go out for bids. Well, that's kind of hard to do in the current process. So what we've done is gone through the foundation where we can elicit proposals, continue to raise money at the same time, and then start showing people what it is we hope to do. Now, here's the goal. By the 20th, we're going to have a committee that's going to review the top proposals, and we're going to allow every veteran on campus to vote via email, much in the way you all get to vote on various proposals. And then those top proposals will go to a CBC committee to look at placement. So size does matter. So really big monuments, for example, may need a special location, where smaller monuments might not. two processes. So here's what we propose to ASCBC. Essentially, we guarantee ASCBC representation on these committees to pick the monument and then also to pick the location of the monument. Again, this really should be an inclusive process because this monument is about our community, our CBC community, and being mindful that CBC is the community's college, so people come to campus all the time, and that's for students. So again, we're communicating to the community our value set and our commitments to students and respective populations. And at this point, the money we've collected could be applied easily to maintenance fee. And I will let you know, Bill Saraceno, who's been very supportive of this project, is adamant that we not fall into the same place that other monuments and pieces of artwork have fallen into, where we get these great pieces of artwork and we can't afford to maintain them. So he said, if you build something here, we have to have a fund to maintain it in perpetuity. So hopefully, as long as CBC is around, which will be forever, we can maintain these monuments, this monument. So. And we'll also make sure that CBC, or ASCBC, is recognized as a contributor to this monument. That may be a big deal to some folks and not to others. But I want to assure you, we would assure that that happens. Colleagues, any last minute thoughts on ASCBC, any questions?
So the vote next week, and for club council, since they're listening in as well, the vote for them over the next 10 days will be to support this project at $75,000 or not. So that will be the actual vote that will be taken in Angel and then also in this room next week.
And Alice, you'd explain to me that if we were to find a monument proposal that was less than $75,000, that the funds could support that and the difference would be given back to ASCBC. Is that how it works?
Right. Groups are only funded for what they actually spend, so you wouldn't be able to go over $75,000. But if you spent, say, $55,000, then that's what you would actually physically get as in funding. And so pretty much the vote is to give you a limit of 75, and if you choose to spend less than that, then that's what would happen. Mm-hmm.
Just like to throw on a side note that since the Iraq and Afghanistan wars have kicked off, and more than 2.2 service members have actually served in combat in support of these conflicts and these wars. With the reduction in forces, reduction in troop sizes, these service members are being discharged at an increasing rate of several thousand per day from the armed forces because we don't need the extreme presence, the military forces anymore. So those veterans that are being discharged from the service, they're looking towards college campuses to use their GI Bill and bring that money, over $1 million a year just to CBC in tuition costs, and they are bringing experience and knowledge to our community, and they're looking for these places to come, and a monument really says, if they were to come to CBC and see a monument here, they would, wow, CBC really does care about us, and if I go to school here, I'm going to be taken care of, and I'm not going to just be lost in a sea of confusion where so many of them find themselves anymore. So there's a lot of service members out there that are looking for schools and to use their GI Bills.
And Ryan, real quick, just to add to that briefly, as I stated before, with the whole camaraderie in the military, that's the type of feeling that all the veterans want and need desperately, because a lot of them have the PTSD and things of that nature, and they need that support. They need that camaraderie back in that life that they were originally had in the military. So that way they can actually function fully and just go right back into school and then go back into the workforce and in society.
Any other questions? Would you like to introduce, I just got a shot of Ryan and Nancy, so would you like to introduce the other people in the room?
And this is Bob Roselli. He's the CEO of the CBC Foundation. So if you've received a CBC scholarship or a
There's
number of
Bob.
other things related to the foundation, Bob's leadership has certainly helped in that. He's helped us weather the tough financial times since 2008 in managing the donations that go to the foundation. So he is a huge supporter. He's also a veteran who served. He's been very gracious to lend the support of the foundation to help in this campaign. So special thanks to Bob and Nancy who helped.
Okay. If we don't have any other questions, we're going to sign off. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.